So people well say that discipleship is slow and it's small, and we hate typically we hate the concept of something being slow, happening slowly, and often in our church world we hate the concept of something being small.
Yeah.
We want it to be big, and whatever is going on with it, we want it to happen fast.
Yes.
And so discipleship can mess with us because it's not just linear. It's an up and down process. It's a backwards and forwards process. And Jesus started with young people. Jesus believed in young people. Jesus' plan to transform the world was to empower young people, to disciple young people. And that's critical.
And again, I mean, he could have chosen anyone.
Yeah,
He had everybody there, so he could have chosen really intelligent people, really educated people, much older people, much more experienced people.
Yes.
But he didn't. I mean, I also think it seems slow in the beginning, but I actually think the results do come about and are much deeper and more long-lasting.
All right, I'm joined here today by Pastors Steve Wyndham and Maylin. You guys have incredible experience being pastors, youth pastors, and also a very interesting journey in discipleship. So today I know we're going to have a great conversation.
Yep, looking forward to it.
Let's get started. Tell us a little bit about yourselves.
So, we started out our Christian journey at university. That's where we met, and we were very involved with a Christian group on campus that was discipleship based.
Right.
So our early days of ministry and Christianity, even I was quite a new Christian, were about discipleship, one-on-one discipleship.
Right.
Learning how to do ministry, learning how to reach lost people.
A lot of sharing our faith on campus as well.
Faith. That's our beginnings of Christianity and our first experience. So that has always been a part of who we are and how we do ministry, and we have been in ministry since the age of 18, and now we are much older, just about 60.
Yeah, that's
So
You must be kidding.
Maylin
Asian
doesn't
thing.
look 60. I look 60. People always tell me I look old and she looks young.
I'm catching up.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, Steve? What was your journey like growing up?
Yeah, I grew up in a Christian home, and I can't really remember a time when I didn't know Jesus or wasn't conscious of his presence. During my school years, I wouldn't say I was living the best Christian life during my school years, but in my final year of high school became very serious about my faith.
Right.
And at that time started to become a youth leader. Then down the track became a youth pastor. We were then senior pastors for a number of years, weren't we? That was a lot of fun, involved in a lot of mission work along the way. And the last 13 years we've been missionaries with Australian Christian Churches International.
Right.
So, that's the last 13 years working in Europe, Central Europe specifically. So that's our summarized version of our journey. Yeah.
That's like a one-page summary of the Bible, right?
Well,
Taking a long thing and just making it
That's it.
one page.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think probably you guys have a wealth of experience. I know earlier we were just having a chat and you have been pastoring for almost 20 over years. So you have a lot of experience in discipleship, in church planting. So I thought to kind of get the ball rolling, maybe a question I would like to ask is, what do many people get right about discipleship? And what do many people get wrong about discipleship?
Maylin will have more to say about this, I'm sure, but let me start. One of the things that I've noticed, particularly in an Australian context and European context, is that we think that discipleship is a process or a program. We actually extract from it that personal element and we reduce it to being programmatic. And I don't think that's very helpful at all. Another thing that we do is that rather than us understanding discipleship as being a process to empower and lift up others, we think that discipleship is us doing a little bit of shaping with people so that they will do the things that we want them to do, particularly in a ministry context.
Right.
And again, I don't think that is helpful either. But yeah, you're going to have more to say than me, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think the most common thing is when I talk about, doing discipleship or having a discipling church, I'm always asked, have you got a book? Can you show me the program that you use?
Your material.
Yeah, let me
yeah.
see your material. And just that's the biggest mistake I think people make. And another common one is, I disciple my people on Sunday.
That's a
The
bad
preaching of the word is discipling them.
Right.
And, sometimes it's a bit of a rude awakening when someone like me says, preaching to your people on Sunday is not discipleship. That's just preaching. So they're probably the most common mistakes, that you can do discipleship from a distance. You can do it in a classroom.
Right.
You can do it in a lecture, and I'll even say, look, even meeting somebody once a month for coffee is not discipleship.
Right.
So they're the common things.
Yeah.
And what they do right, well, when they rethink and understand that it's about relationship and genuine relationship, not I want to sit down and have coffee with you and talk to you about the ministry you're going to do for me,
exactly.
but actually have people be a part of your life.
Right.
And be genuinely interested in their whole life, not just what they can do for you.
Right.
And the heart and the purpose is not, I just want to spend time with you so that you'll get better at doing the job I need you to do, and I'll train you, and that's
Right.
my discipleship. But actually love them,
Right.
care about them, and walk through life with them. And when people make that transition in their mind and give their heart to actually loving people and seeing them transformed to be more like Jesus,
Right.
is the beauty of discipleship. And that's when they get it right. When
Exactly.
it's, there's a journey, I want to walk with them and I want to see them changed. I want them to be different because I've discipled them, and I want them to know Jesus better because I've discipled them. I want them to look more like Jesus and find who they are in God, and that's
It's one of the
what's
things
beautiful.
we love about Heart of God Church is the stories that we keep getting told during the sessions. Those stories are highlights, and those stories are discipling stories.
Right.
Having a snapshot of a text message from somebody, or the text of a letter,
Yeah.
that's a discipling relationship,
Yeah.
right? And you see the transformation that takes place. And that well and truly is an integral part of what you guys do, rather than it being an add-on or something that you have to do because you
Right.
want a big church. Oh, we want a big church. Oh, do we have to disciple people? Oh. Like if we
Dragging our
have to,
feet to
if we
it.
have to care about people, if we have to invest our lives in people to get a big church, all right, then we'll do it. No, that's not the spirit of Heart of God Church. We love it.
Yeah.
We love it.
So I really agree. I think one of the misconceptions people might have is that discipleship is just like a model.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I want to build my church. I'm looking for a model. Which model should I follow? Okay, multiple choice. Let me
Yeah,
pick discipleship.
that's right.
And then they seem to think that maybe it's just about preaching a sermon, or it's about teaching a class.
Yeah.
But like what you guys said, it's not just that.
Yeah.
It can include that, some
Yeah.
element of it, but it is really about investing into people's lives. Millie, I love what you said. It's about truly loving people, not about what training them to be better at ministry.
Yeah.
I mean, that's training, that's important.
It's all good.
But there
Yeah.
is that heart element, in pouring into people, investing into people. So what would you say is like, if someone realizes this, they suddenly take a step back and like, okay, maybe this is the paradigm I've been living in, and now I want to come back to this original intention of discipleship. Like, how would you advise them? What should they do? Like, is there a little first step they can start?
It's a really difficult transition, I think, because we get a mindset that, and as you get older as well, it can be harder and harder to think differently. But my recommendation is always to take them back to Jesus and the New Testament. It's all there, right?
Right.
Discipleship and how he saw his young disciples transformed in 3.5 years.
Yeah.
So my first step with them is always just, well, let's go back and see how Jesus saw, 12 ordinary young men completely changed in 3.5 years. The New Testament lays it out for you how he, walked with them and brought them into his life and all that.
Right.
So that it's not my idea, it's not my concept. This is how Jesus changed people and developed amazing leaders that changed the world.
Right.
Wouldn't you like to do that?
Wow.
Do it like Jesus.
That is such a good sales pitch. Sign me up. Yes.
And you can, he's the example, he gives the example, and you can blame him rather than, them argue with me or whatever. It's like, well,
Right.
if it was good enough for Jesus, if Jesus had to lead that way, because he could have led in any way, right? He could have
Exactly.
just kept preaching from a distance. He could have
Yeah.
had huge classrooms.
Yeah.
He could have, done a whole lot of other stuff, but he chose to bring, 11, 12 men really close to him and walk with them and all the stuff that he did with them. So really that's what we need to do, and the process is there. So that's step one for me, is to get them to think, I'm just doing what Jesus did.
Right.
And they were young as well, right?
Key, yeah.
So I think that's one of the things that we lose sight of, that Jesus' disciples were probably younger
Yeah.
than we would typically think they were. And I
Yes.
don't think our movies and the like help us, because they're often pitched as being older people.
Yeah.
But actually, they were young guys. And Jesus started with young people. Jesus believed in young people.
Right.
Jesus' plan to transform the world was to empower young people, to disciple young people.
Right.
And that's critical, right? For where we want to go with the plan of God. It's critical that we are involved in discipling young people, and we recognise the gems that young people can be, and
Exactly.
invest in youth. Yeah.
And again, he could have chosen anyone.
Yeah.
He had
exactly.
everybody there, so he could have chosen really intelligent people, really educated people, much older people, much more experienced people.
Yes.
But he didn't. And, if it's good enough for Jesus, if that's the example he's given us, we're mad not to do it his way.
Yeah.
It works, obviously, and that's the example that he's laid out for us so beautifully, I think. Yeah, that's step one. It's all about following Jesus, and then just the testimony of what our experience has been, and it works. Yes, Jesus was 2,000 years ago, but it works today because we've been doing it for a long time now. So yeah.
Exactly. If discipleship were just a model, in 2,000 years, it would have been flawed. Something would have not gone well, but it's still happening today.
Yeah.
That whatever Jesus said, go and make disciples, even now, 2025, people are out there making disciples. So it's really a kingdom thing, a biblical thing. So I just wanted to also tap on some of your insights or your wisdom, because, sometimes we all live in different cultures, different churches. Here in our conference, we have so many people from different nations, right? So when they receive something like discipleship, and now they want to contextualize it to their culture. But maybe every nation is different, right?
Yeah,
in some churches, it is so easy to get young people in because their parents drag them to church.
Yeah.
In other churches, maybe the nation is not even Christian, so they have to win souls one by one from scratch. So what would you say is the core things that we need to keep, and what are some things that we could kind of tweak and change to contextualize discipleship? Okay, I know I asked like 5 questions at one time, right?
You did, but I think we can weave our way through
Yeah.
that. And you did say we're intelligent, didn't you? So I think,
Very,
or
very.
you said wise. I don't know.
Wise.
Maybe
Insights
I
and
interpreted
wisdom.
it as wise.
Yes.
So you said, insights and wisdom. yeah, nations are very different. Culturally, the history of different nations is so different. So a lot of the places where we work, we would have to look at the subject quite differently
Right.
on the basis of which nation that we are in. But I think one of the common factors is to speak to leaders and say, hey, you're a spiritual leader, you're called to minister to people, love people. Why don't you put on discipleship classes and decide that rather than, be a great preacher or be a great teacher or be a great evangelist or see yourself as a great leader or church builder, why don't you decide to actually choose a few people, preferably young people, and invest your life in them and actually see what Jesus can do by you choosing at that very basic grassroots level to invest your life in the lives of other people. And that kind of principle crosses cultures.
Exactly.
Right? That's about a mature man of God or woman of God saying, hey, I've got something to give. One thing that I often hear pastors say is, we don't have any leaders. And it's like, well, okay, where do you think leaders come from? Like, where are they? And they miss the reality that they have kids in their church. They have a couple of youth maybe in their church. Well, there's your leaders. They're not going to be coming from anywhere else. So I think a lot of pastors would like them to come from somewhere else. No, the onus is on spiritual leaders to reproduce other spiritual leaders, and you do that through discipling them. That's a bit messy. It takes time, but it's worth the investment. And again, that's what Jesus did, right?
I think, culturally, human relationship is the key. So what works in your culture relationally is how we do our discipleship and what's acceptable in your culture relationally. So, what relationships can I have in my culture that are acceptable? In some cultures, some things are, some things aren't. And there's some of the things you have to tweak. In Australia, we have a lot of legalities around things like that, and you do have to be quite careful in terms of, how you would disciple a young person and, whether you can invite them into your home even.
So child safety
policies. All those kinds of things. There's a lot of that. And so those are the things you have to be careful about. In some cultures, it's not a problem. In others, it is. But, at the end of the day, you're developing genuine relationship with people in an appropriate manner for your culture. Sometimes, we'll recommend, disciple two people at a time. So, there's always levels of accountability there. So just little tweaks. But, the thing is it's loving somebody and bringing them into your world in a culturally appropriate way. And, for different cultures, there are some different ways in which you can and can't speak to people even. When we talk about having difficult conversations, just being aware of your own culture and what is too blunt and too direct. In one culture, it's not a problem. In another culture, it's like, whoa.
What did you just say?
Yeah, how could you say that to me?
How dare you?
Yeah. So, in Australian culture, nobody likes to be told what to do. They get very defensive immediately. So when you're, trying to have a difficult, challenging conversation with somebody, you have to be a little bit careful about how blunt you are going to be or how you're going about challenging them. Obviously, you want to make sure you have the caring relationship. But even with a caring relationship in our culture, it's quite difficult to challenge somebody. They're very defensive. Whereas in other cultures, it's almost normal. Tell me off. I accept that. That's normal.
Please tell me.
Yes.
I'm very objective,
Exactly,
you know? Yeah.
exactly. And they're used to being told what to do and following instructions. So that's a little bit easier sometimes to have some of the more difficult conversations in some respects, because they can respond quite positively quite quickly. So they're just some of the little tweaks culturally that, you do have to know your culture.
Right.
And understand how can I express what I want to say in a way that's it's going to be acceptable and palatable and understood, with the right heart.
Right.
Yeah.
So at Heart of God Church, you guys say that, I don't know the exact phrase, but church is home, church is family. Is that right?
Church is our home.
Church is our home.
Yeah.
And if it's a home, then that connotes the issue of family. And as Pastor Howe says, if it's family, that means there's a mother and a father, a spiritual mother and father. And I think discipleship has more parenting elements than perhaps we've given it credit over the years. And maybe as the whole church is shifting more towards understanding that we're family, we're not an organisation, we're not a corporation. There are those family elements and family language biblically. If we get back to that, we would see that being a discipler, being a spiritual leader, we need to love people, shape people, treat people as though they are our children. So our motive always is for their best rather than for our best. And some of that can be quite contrary to a corporate model, because in a corporate model, best is not necessarily best for that person. Best is best for the shareholders, for the bottom line of the company. No, we're a family, we're a home. What is best for that person, rather than what will that person just do for me? That's not family thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Like everything that you guys said, because if you decide who to disciple, when you disciple a young person, they have such a huge runway in front of them that they can really take off into their whole potential, the destiny that God has for them. But I also know that now we live in kind of like a, I don't know, social media age, like an instant generation. Everything has to be quick, everything has to be fast. But discipleship kind of goes against that, right?
It does.
Like
Totally does.
if you spend 3 days discipling someone, it's how much can you do compared to 3 years in relationship with them?
Yeah.
Like you guys are saying.
So people well say that discipleship is slow and it's small. And we hate typically we hate the concept of something being slow, happening slowly. And often in our church world, we hate the concept of something being small.
Yeah.
We want it to be big, and whatever is going on with it, we want it to happen fast.
Yes.
And so discipleship can mess with us because it's not just linear. It's an up and down process. It's a backwards and forwards process, right? Like people don't grow in some sort of straight line.
You can't just draw a graph and say grow like this.
Exactly, you can't, right? You can't, because we're dealing with people, and that seems to be inefficient. That can frustrate us if we're results driven.
Right.
But again, if you're a parent, you are going to persist with your child's ups and their downs because you believe in them and you want the best for them.
But, I mean, I also think it seems slow in the beginning.
Right.
But I actually think the results do come about and are much deeper and more long-lasting. So, we planted a church and discipled some young people, and at first it seems slow, right? They're 16, 17 and they're developing and growing. But then by the time they're 20, 21, they're strong, they're mature, and they're now going out and planting churches. And if I was just leading them from a distance and preaching to them for 4 years in a church scenario, and them coming on Sunday and me just preaching, there's no way at the end of that 4 years they would have the depth and the maturity and the sense of responsibility where they're going to go out and plant a church. actually 4 years is quite quick to
yeah.
produce
If you think
such
about it-
amazing
if
leaders,
you think about it that
right?
way,
So
yeah.
when you actually look back, at first you think, oh, this is slow, and I'm walking with them and I'm spending all this time with them. I actually love it, so I don't think that, but, you could think that. But when you look back, to produce strong leaders in a 3-4 year period, and they're going from the age of, 17 just to 20 or 21,
Right.
that's pretty fast, impressive development, actually, and more long lasting. So, yeah, I think it's not quite true that it's slow and hard, because, yeah, I think
I
it's
think we
actually
think
more.
it's slow,
It's
though.
more fruitful than 4 years of preaching on a Sunday to a bunch of people.
But a lot of pastors would think that that's slow, though.
Yeah, but they're not producing, that level of leadership that quickly.
Yeah.
That they might be importing them from somewhere else, but they're not actually producing
Right.
high quality leaders in a period of 3 or 4 years.
Right.
And if they're young, they last forever, right? They're by
exactly.
the time they're 20, 21, they're pretty solid,
Yeah.
and you've got them really serving well. So, yeah, I often challenge that concept of, it's slow. Well, how fast are you producing leaders?
True.
I'm not sure that they are. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that kind of goes against what most people would like. Everybody loves the fairy tale, overnight success.
Yeah.
The miracle is here, big. Yeah, like what Steve, you said, slow and small. People are like, take that out of the Bible. I want big and fast.
Immediately.
So yeah, immediately.
Yeah.
So I really agree with all the perspectives that you guys shared. So yeah, I think we had a great conversation so far. It was like a huge deep dive into discipleship. Thank you for sharing, again, insights and wisdom, really. I think what you guys share casts so much light on what discipleship is and what it is not. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thanks
chatting
for the opportunity, Papa.
to
Appreciate
us.
it.
And we love
Yeah.
what you guys do.